pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get to the approval of the agenda, I'm leaving at 7:40 because I've got a grandson that has a concert tonight, and Bruce is leaving at 7:30 because of the same reason. Nikki's not here, so basically the meeting's over at...
Let's push through then.
So we can push through as much as we can. Okay, so you've got the agenda in front of you, the approval of the agenda. Is there any changes that need to be made to the agenda?
No, sir.
Not, is there a motion to approve the agenda as stated?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council on any public commenting? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. 4.1, approval of minutes of the November 23rd regular council meeting, approval of minutes for the November 23rd work session, approval of minutes for the November 30th special council meeting, approval of minutes for the November 3rd planning commission meeting, approval of minutes for the November 10th park board meeting. 4.6, approval of claims for the month of December, includes a pay request number 6 for roundabout project, the amount of $14,477.64. 4.7, approval of check summary for the month of November. 4.8, approval of sheriff's department report for the month of November 2015. 4.9, approval of the building permit report for the month ending November 2015. 4.10, approval of the fire department report for the month ending November 2015. 4.11, approval of amusement licenses for 2016. 4.12, approval of fire department officers for 2016. 4.13, approval of resolution 1214-2015-2045 personnel committee. And 4.14, approval of resolution 1214-2015-48 limited use permit MnDOT for roundabout project. Any of those items need to be pulled up for further discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion or questions?
Are we, on the personnel committee thing, is there going to have to be like some set of guidelines or whatever, some sort of regulation, there's some sensitive material that usually needs to be kept confidential, just things like that?
Those meetings can be closed. So I can put, if you want to, maybe we need to have a little work, when we do a work session in January, just talk about how we'll handle different situations on the personnel committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably need to resolve that, but it's basically closing the meeting is what it amounts to, I think.
Right.
Just go from there.
And then the roundabout project, is that their final, or we're still?
No, if you look, there was $45,000 on, if you look on the sheet that was given to you, I think there was $45,000 in retained, so minus the 14, it leaves about $29,000.
Okay.
Because it would say final pay estimate if it were the final.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? If not, then we have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we then have the public hearing for the truth on taxation. Is there anyone here that wishes to address the council for the truth and taxation hearing? Okay. Hearing none, then we'll close that hearing and move on to 5.2, approval of 2016 final levy and budget.
Mr. Mayor, council members, in your packet, you have the information about you have the proposed budget and the resolutions. City Council had met on September 14th, 2015 to review the proposed levy for the 2016 general fund. The proposed levy was $1,064,551.02. Council had reviewed the budget at several work sessions and reduced the overall proposed levy of $1,064,551, and you made $49,502.40 in adjustments. So that left the levy at $1,014,664. The preliminary was certified at that amount, $1,014,664. Then council had instructed staff to send the budgets back to the respective departments and requested that the departments review the budgets for further reductions. After review, the departments offered the following budget reductions, and they were from the park board, from the fire department, street department, and general government. They totaled $35,369. So taking that $35,369 off of the $1,014,000, staff then implemented the reductions into the budget, and the resulting levy is $979,294. I've given you the middle column with the preliminary levy with the amounts that were used to certify in September, and then the proposed final 2016 budget. So the preliminary levy again was certified at $1,014,664, which results in a property tax rate of 63.740, or city taxes on a home valued at $200,000 would be $1,275. With the removal of the $35,000 and the final levy at $979,293 or $294 would result in a tax rate of 61.063, or city taxes on a home valued at $200,000 would be $1,221.75. Council can further discuss whether further cuts are warranted. Staff has provided you with the following amounts the city could use to reduce the levy, which would result in a lower levy amount and lower taxes, which I show you if you reduce the levy by $15,000, what the tax rate would be, 20 and 30. After discussion and direction, staff's requesting approval of the resolutions establishing the final levy for 2016 and the final general fund budget for 2016.
Anybody have any questions or comments? There's a motion would be in order to approve the levy as presented here, the $979,293.58.
I kind of talked to Luann a little bit beforehand about a couple things that we had in the budget that were preliminary, and I was under the understanding that we would decide if we were keeping them or not, but I realized that we never ended up talking about them again. One of them was the increase in the suggested increase for public works, which it turns out we could just leave in there. It doesn't affect the budget that much because personnel had suggested a different rate than what was in there. But the other one was the payment of the $6,000 into the fire relief fund, and that is still in there. And I just want council to be aware of that is still in there. I don't know if that means if we approve the budget as it is, does that mean we approve paying it? Because we never brought it back to council to talk about. It's a bill or it's an amount that we're not being asked to pay. If I remember right, we're not being asked to pay that. It's not necessary to pay that, but it's an amount that we had just put in there for discussion later, and I don't remember ever discussing it again.
You're right.
Right, it's not something that we need to pay this year, but in looking at projected what would happen if it was just a means of evening out future payments. We pay some this year, it would reduce the amount we pay next year, or whenever the rate is increased. Because if we looked at, I'd have to go back and look at all the figures, but if we don't pay this rate, and then they come with an increase, so we need to approve an increase in pension at some point, we're going to pay a heavier amount at that point. And so it was just a way to level out the playing field, not a playing field, just level out the year-to-year amount being paid for the fire department pension is what it was for.
I don't like paying bills that we don't have to. I don't do it at all, but...
Well, we're going to have to at some point. I mean, at some point...
I don't think it's going to jump up $12,000 by next year, but, maybe next year it's the 6th. If we don't owe the money and their pension is fine and their investments are great, it was just something that we were going to talk about. I just want council to be aware that it's still there. And I don't know that if we approve this budget, does that mean we're approving the disbursement of the $6,000? So.
I agree. I'm glad you brought it up. I kinda let it slip and forgot about it. The biggest concern I have with this budget moving forward tonight is we're looking at the water and sewer access charge. We don't know where we're going with that. We don't know where we're going with our rates yet. We still have $22,000 in this budget for employee wages that are included in those other proposals. And we don't know which one we're gonna approve. So do we take the $20,000 out of here for administrative wages that we're gonna charge on the rates, or are we gonna leave it in here? So I don't have a problem lowering this by $30,000. One of my biggest concerns is lowering it. I kinda wanted to carry a 0% increase across the bottom line. I don't care what that levy number is, but I wanna make sure that we got enough for the additional staff that we're talking about. And I think we can reduce it and still make that work.
And where are you taking the 30,000?
10 from the water and 10 from the sewer. And,
Because
Lois's
we-
wages. That was Lois's wages that are in that other rate
They're
study.
in the rate study for the, right, those two I could agree with could be taken out, because they're in the, supposed to be covered by the new rates
structure.
for the sewer and water. So those could be taken out. I'm hesitant to say I wanna take more than that out, because, there's things that come up that, you cut it that tight, at some point, it's gonna come back to bite us.
I don't think we're cutting it that tight when every year we're putting money, transferring money to savings for 3 departments: fire department, street department, and the parks. Each year we transfer money.
If you would let the parks do what they want to do, we wouldn't transfer that money every year. It'd be spent, and we'd have developed parks. That's just my feeling. But I understand what you're saying, yeah, we do transfer money.
Well, if you drop the 20,000, you're dropping it down to a tax rate of 59.61, and what was our rate this year, Luann?
61.
No,
Where's
50,
Where's
59.57.
Yeah,
So if you drop the 20,000, which I could agree with that, because that's actually a shift in where it's coming from. We're back to last year's tax rate. Because last year we were at 59.57, this will put us at 59.61.
That's without whatever the county puts on there, is that?
This is the city's level.
Well, we just have to worry about the cities.
Yep.
Right.
But that's still the question about the $6,000 for the fire department.
Formula. In your formula, it's,
In that little tax calculator?
yeah, that has the county.
These are our numbers. No, these
No,
are
that
our
just has
numbers.
the fiscal disparity dollars in it.
Right.
We
These
get
are
that.
our numbers. This is the market tax value, adjusted tax capacity they
Okay.
tell us to use for the city
So
of
it goes from
Mayor.
the 50 to 60 some when you use that thing.
When you change this a top number, it's the levy that we're levying.
When you reduce the overall levy, then the tax rate drops.
Right.
Okay, so if we reduce the overall levy to 959, 293, according to Luann's chart there,
Yeah.
we reduce it by $20,000, we reduce our tax rate to 59.61.
So this is the amount that we levy.
Yeah.
This is fiscal disparity dollars.
Right.
This is the adjusted tax capacity.
Right.
So they do the formula. I don't touch the formula. So this is with a $20,000 reduction, then we get this tax rate. These numbers they give us for the tax capacity of the city.
What's the one that you just turned into us here?
That's the one that's the 979 without the 20.
Oh, you have one with the 20 done.
Yes, I did one with 50, just like I did in the memo, so that I had them so I could show you.
So that took it from 61, the one that we have in our packet,
To this,
59.
59. Because I put them
There
in,
you go.
I put them up here, but I printed these off for myself so I had them
got
so I
it.
could show you.
Yeah,
Right.
I did that. All right.
I'm not afraid to cut it to 30. I would make a motion to cut the 30, reducing it to the 58.84.
Where are you getting the other 10? It's gotta come from...
It's 6 from the fire department relief, and the rest from the park.
You're gonna cut the park 8.
Split it between the park and the road,
Well,
streets.
parks have got $20,000 in funds right now to spend, so taking $4,000 out of there would be appropriate. You're gonna cut that much.
I'll second that.
So we're taking 20,000 from the city clerk's line item for wages, 4 from the parks, and the 6 from the fire relief.
Do we wanna make that 22 like the, other document states?
It's probably gonna be
It's
close to
11
that.
and 11?
It's probably gonna be close to that. Oh, its wages were 11, weren't they? Because by the time we do all the other FICA and stuff out of there, Bruce, it probably will be 11. Because did we account for the, in the rate thing, did we account for all the other stuff? Or did we just say 11,000?
11,000
Just
for wages.
11,000 for wages.
And
And we
I don't
didn't have the
know.
para and all the other stuff, so we'd probably leave that, so we'd be okay at 10. Because it's gonna probably be at 22 by the time I change the para and the FICA in the general fund budget. If I just take 20 out of wages.
Okay, whatever you think is right.
Well, I think, am I making sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So if it goes over the 30,000, then can we put it back into the parks? Or split between the relief and the parks?
Can you do
It's
that?
your budget, you
Why,
tell
can
me.
Is that appropriate?
Because it's gonna be 15% of 20,000, because FICA's 7.65, para 7.5, so you're at 15.15% of 20,000.
So if there is overage, can we, is it appropriate to split them back that way? Is that okay? Just that
You
would
tell
keep
me
us
what-
from doing it?
You can tell me what you want me to do.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. But see, the fire relief was 6,257, it wasn't 6,000.
Yeah, I did round it, I will say.
So I mean, how do you want it an even 30 then, or what do you want me to do?
I guess I was basing it on this information here, and even 30 is fine.
I don't wanna take too much more than 30.
No.
I kinda a little bit worried about taking too much and then having a big jump next year or something, you know.
Okay, so we've got, did you make a motion, Bruce?
Yes.
And Eric seconded it to reduce it by $30,000, and, I think Luann's got idea where it's coming from. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, I will oppose it. Okay, approval of resolution 1214, 2015, approving the general fund budget.
I'll have to redo it'll have to be $30,000 left on these resolutions. So why don't you let me redo them
Right,
based on your
come.
reductions, and I'll bring them back to the next meeting.
Next meeting, okay. Okay, 5.3, approval of water and sewer access charges. Looking at that, my thought on that, I looked at the figures there, my thought is that we leave the sack and whack charges alone, but raise the area fee to, where am I, 64?
It's 2,600, I think, 28.
What's it?
64
3,100 an acre.
to 3,100 an acre. Because looking at the chart, I see us as being actually, if not the top, very top of the sack and whack throughout the county, except for Chanhassen and Carver, which are a lot higher. But otherwise, I mean, we're here at 4,500. I don't think we ought to do that. That's gonna scare residents out as far as building. The area charges, what, up here, the developer pays, okay, that, I'm fully okay with raising that. So, speak to it. Did you have something to address the council on that?
I did. I didn't know if I should have spoke earlier in order to speak now, or if I can speak now.
Go ahead, right ahead.
Mayor, members of the council, Don Jensen with Craftsman, regarding the Hidden Creek project. This would create about $1,200 more a household in the lots that are there. One of the questions we like to ask very early on in the process is, are the fees going up, which changes the amount of land one might plat. In this case, we held off for 2 phases of 7th edition. This proposed fee could be anywhere from $25,000 or more, which does in fact affect the lot prices. So the question would be is that the accelerated housing starts because the lots cost more, or what can we do to maintain it? What we want to do is also understand whether or not the fee increase is going to be retroactive to our current plat, where we're awaiting the development agreement so that we can move forward. So I don't know that that's the only item we've seen a draft, but we're waiting to see the draft, and it makes a difference. It would have made a difference to us where we contemplated the amounts that are in this sheet for you to study. So certainly what we would advocate is that the pricing for the first phase, the 6th edition, is at the current rate, and if you're contemplating raising them at all for the future years, that we would certainly have liked the opportunity to appeal earlier in this calendar year to move something forward. So it's a little bit outside of what this immediate item is to raise it, but sometimes in our work across communities, as you see comparing prices gives you one story that the mayor points out clearly, is that you have to have, depending on what our people's buying patterns are, job patterns are, sometimes it's more than just the numbers on the sheet. You want people to be able to come here and buy a home, maintain their affordability index, that getting the building start to ramp up. Now, we know the Fed's probably going to raise rates shortly. That'll push some people into buying. The next one up, we hope that doesn't stall.
Do we have a...
This was part of a larger discussion when they looked at water and sewer rates on the 30th of November, and where the deficit was in the water and sewer funds. So
Do we have a current area charge?
$1,600 an
Okay, that's not listed in here.
No, I realized that after I read it.
Okay, so this 9,000 should be 10,600 here.
No, I think that includes the, I didn't put area charges in there, because they're an acre fee. This is a per lot
Okay,
fee.
this is per lot fee, okay.
And so not all the communities charge an acre fee, a per acre fee. Some of them do, some of them don't. This is in addition to the fee that's collected on the building permit. It's paid at the time the development agreement's signed. So it's to help pay for the trunk fees.
Okay.
Instead of collecting it all on the building permit, we collect some from the developer ahead of time.
And at the end of the day, it all rolls into
It's passed
the
on.
consumer that
Pays for it, right.
There's challenges on both sides regarding lending practices. So the higher the lot cost is at a base rate, and then you add the home and lot tax, both have to appraise for a new land development, and you keep those items in line as well. So both have to be reasonable.
So we're currently at 1,600. Martini is saying 3,100, which is about
50% almost. 32 B50.
just about double, yep.
And if you say that, can't really base it on this, but if it's 2.5 homes per acre, it's $500, and $500 per home, $1,200 additional, well, it's 12, it's 15.
I ran my numbers.
It'd be what?
Well, I ran my statement of 1,200 at the 27,861 number. There were 2 choices for you, because I considered that in the higher number, 30 would pay that versus.
Right, and we aren't, right. But you can't do it based on acres on house lots, because I suppose you can. But it's not charged on the lots, it's charged on the roads and the trunk fees it's based on the water and sewer, the linear fees, the acreage that way.
Right, but it's still, it's $3,100 per acre is what it is.
Right.
And how many lots per acre? 3
Well-
average or what?
Based on the acreage that's in the Hidden Creek plat. So, the real project that's right there, at the, 2788 number, then there'd be another $42,000 collected as a flat, if it was all next year's. A little bit less if we're allowed to be able to progress and we're locking down the number that's 1,600 today, so that we could execute our agreement and move forward.
But it won't be that much because some of it's excluded.
Um,
Or is that, did Dave give you that number?
When, I haven't seen a number, but what's in the memo to consider for yourself is the gross acreage, not, that includes the wetlands, that includes the streets and the lots. That's the acreage that the staff has put together for you to consider, the 25.21 acres of the Hidden Creek landmass that's left to go is everything.
Right, but area charges aren't figured on the full acreage, I don't believe. There's some things are excluded, if I remember correctly. It's been a
Normally
while,
that- yeah.
while since I've done
I'm not
it.
disagreeing, I'm just saying that the math that's in this, backup
Yeah.
is taking the gross.
Oh, he
land
used
area.
it, I see it, okay.
Okay.
And then he's backing into that to come up with a 10% number.
Right.
Or I presume he,
Yep.
and so that tells you that there's 118 gross acres as well, and so each subdivision that's yet to complete has these numbers tied to it, and that's how he's coming up with it.
Right, because he wouldn't know how they're laid out, or how the lots are laid out, how many streets there are, and those things. So this was just a rough way for him to come up with a rough number.
So can we get a more accurate assessment of what it would cost per lot?
Probably not, because not until, well, Dave could do it based on what they're gonna do, but he probably can't on the other developments. It was just a way to come up with a number, because again, there's things that are excluded.
In the Hidden Creek, which is the only example I can speak to, is at least 900, you're talking about going up a few slope. So the next number is 3,000, and 27, 88, so that's 100, 200, 300, 300 come on top of that, so $1,200 more lots. If we're not allowed to use the numbers.
How would it be?
1,600 this year.
We did a survey and got these fees from these other cities. I was in here one day and there was also a stormwater fee included. I don't see that on here. Did you ask for the area fee like we're looking at?
The area fees that came back, I think that Waconia doesn't charge an area fee. Per acre fees for Chanhassen, they don't charge a per acre fee. Watertown charges $7.75 per acre for water and $2,678 per acre for sewer. And this was why I guess I didn't do it. New Germany has, they charge force main for some, and then they escrow different for Black Forest, and then they have something else for Hilda Street on 62nd, and so I just,
It's hard to
I
compare.
didn't try to get, I couldn't figure out a way to get them all in one.
I think the Eastern Metro, I mean, they're on
Well, I have
Med Council, so that's why they wouldn't be asking.
area
Well,
charges, some of them don't.
That's why Med Council has that Med SAC fee. Yeah, they have their own
That
charge.
$24.85 is across the board for
And
all
I'm
the
not-
communities,
I'm
right?
not sure if they charge a per acre fee or not, Med Council.
I can tell you that in many cases, it might not be called the same thing, but the same per acre fee is the same project that we would do, regardless of what, label on the spreadsheet, and then at the building permit level, you also have to hook up the.
Yeah.
So that, as the city administrator pointing out, our area charges go to kind of building that base infrastructure. Right. And the other is going for, once the building permit comes in, you tend to fund operations on that side with the flow. So
Yeah.
that's how I understand it.
Well, and it's unfortunate for you because we built a new plant with this development coming and it didn't come. And we're sitting here, 10 years later, trying to pay off the debt
Unfortunate
keep
for
it
the people
affordable.
paying it.
for people like yourself that are trying to develop in our community. So, with all due respect, we like to see those numbers so that we can be competitive when we're comparing it. So if we up this, in the back of your mind, is it comparable to other fees?
I think it depends on what you're, if you're just placing them on a spreadsheet, it may look comparable. I mean, the question is, how is the home site in the given community related to driving from home?
Yeah.
And so, for the drive time or the location or the other issues that are people's buying decisions, you kind of also drive that decision. On the business side, the lower it is, it creates a fixed lot cost. What I can tell you when you look at our development agreement, that would be in front of you with the costs that are in there, the more fees that are added, like costs and other fees, that fixed lot cost starts to get pretty trending up close to $45,000 in fixed costs, lending costs and other fees. So at a house, and bells and whistles on that interest rate, each person makes their own decision after that.
Okay, so we're at 1,600, we're looking at a $1,500 increase or some portion thereof.
I have from Chanhassen, Minnetrista, and Victoria, what their area charges are, if you want those. You want me, Chanhassen is $677 for sewer, and their water's $1975. Minnetrista is $1,100 an acre for sewer, $8,530 for water, and Victoria is $3,380 for water. But Waconia didn't have any, and this is Carver, Chanhassen, Medina, Minnetrista, Mound, Shorewood, Victoria, and Waconia. I had someone sent me this spreadsheet when I went out and asked for it.
Okay, so the 3,100 is certainly not on the line then.
No, not when they're getting $8,530 in Minnetrista. They just put up a new water plant too. And Victoria's getting $3,380 for a water availability charge, so.
And none of those communities own their own wastewater facilities.
No, but they're still paying the $2,400 and whatever it is, $85 to Met Council for hookup fee.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, our question is, these are numbers for next year's work. And we're certainly hopeful of, whatever the number goes to, whatever your decision is, that the company got a chance because our work is done and waiting for the numbers to fill in the blanks, that the system is
Yep.
going to use this year's number.
Okay, so we need to, because the development agreement is going to be in front of us next
Next meeting, right.
2 weeks from tonight.
So you can leave it at the $1,600 then if that's what you want.
We can leave it there, we can raise it
Yep. That's what you want.
$750, we can raise it
Yep.
$850, $950, whatever we want to do, but I guess we probably should raise it somewhat. I think we need to look at a little bit of an increase on it.
So you're suggesting that you don't raise it this time to the full
Maybe
amount
not,
that
maybe not the full amount, but come back and revisit it 12 months from now.
Or in January, we could raise it as part of the fee schedule, so when the seventh
We
edition
could do it
comes
for the
in,
next
or
development, right.
anything else comes in.
We could raise it half of it now and then the other half come January for the next one.
And whatever we raise would be put onto what he's already had approved?
There's nothing approved.
I thought they had a plat up there.
They have a plat approved, but they don't have a development agreement.
Development agreement's coming next meeting, and that number needs to be filled in
Right.
for us to approve the development agreement.
Mhm.
So we could certainly raise it right now by half of that amount, $750, and then in January, set our fees, raise the additional amount for future development. Or some other scenario. So what would you like to do?
Well, I think we could leave it. I mean, they came in and planned and everything when they're believing that that's what the numbers are gonna be. I leave it right there, and then we'll, you know, for the future developments, you know, go ahead and implement it, but I'd leave it where it is. They're just gonna that cost is just gonna be passed back to the consumer anyway.
I don't have a problem raising it half this time, and then half the beginning of the year. Again, it's unfortunate for development, but that development was started, a lot of the grading work's done, you know, and we're still stuck with a debt that was occurred 10 years ago. And the taxpayers of the community can't keep supporting the development of the future. It's tough. I guess I'd make a motion to raise it at half.
Raise it by $750 per acre, okay. Is there a second? Yeah, I will second it. Think I can do that, right? Okay, I will second it. So, motion made second to raise the area charge by $750 an acre. Any further discussion or questions?
Again, by changing these fees, it'll help us when we adjust the water rate fees. So I think in conjunction with all three of these, we're getting back on track and making the debt payable by the user. You know, not by the general population, by the user. And you know, I think by taking each one of these steps, they're all tied very close together.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We'll have the figures filled in. Okay, approval of resolution 12-20, 12-14, 2015-46, water and sewer rates for 2016.
Mr. Mayor, council members, attached to the memo is a spreadsheet with the proposed rate increases for sewer and water. On the spreadsheet is the affordability factor, and attached is the email from Terry Osterman about mayor's affordability factor. Continuing on down the sheet is the base rate increase as well as the usage rate increase over 5 years. The total monthly increase is roughly $4 for water and $4 for sewer over the next 5 years. Council will need to discuss the rates and make a recommendation on the 2016 water and sewer rates. I provided you with a resolution with the very first water rate increase. If you want to implement that, then you can do so by passing on the resolution.
Did you just bring this one increase back, Luann?
I only proposed the one
The one?
for the year, because then next year when we set fees, we'll go to the next step if that's what you want to do. I'm not asking you to do it all at once. We're just asking for one step increase.
Yeah, this is
2016.
yearly,
And
this
then
is what it would look like. Everything goes as it was right now. Now, if, you know, I think next year we need to go through, we've got the forms, we've got that whole spreadsheet for the water and sewer rates. We can fill it in ourselves after this, pretty close. Yeah, if it needs to be tweaked a little bit, it can be, but this would get us to our target. We are right here is where we are right now, you know, various usages and so forth, and what our target should be, what we should be at, and it boils down to, I'm trying to here, the total, I guess you go down to the bottom here, sewer plus water, your average is right around 8% per year. Increase is what it is.
So here's what, I don't know if I'm not looking at this right or what, but one of them is gonna increase 11.79%,
Right.
right? And the other one's gonna increase 5.8, and so how does that total 8.1 when you put them together?
Because what I did here is I took the total 3,000 gallons, what the total water charge was for 3,000 gallons, and the total sewer charge for 3,000 gallons.
Uh-huh.
and projected it out across 5 years, and then what the increase was each year, because it worked out to about 8%. So the two together, you add them together. You add them together, basically add this and this, and divide by 2, you come up with roughly 8%. The water takes the biggest jump, because that's where we got the biggest deficit right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take the 11% here, plus 6 point some, that's 17%, or around 16, 17%, divide by 2 is 8%, is your average increase. You know, because, if you look at it just on the water portion alone, it's 11% increase, but the sewer does not increase as much. So you combine the two.
Well, it kind of does, because we're still levying $300,000.
Well,
That revenue was counted in the
I
rate.
know, but
Well, then if you take that out of that rate sheet, then you don't have that extra revenue, then your rates are gonna go up.
I understand, I'm just making a point. It's either way.
Funds, you get
And-
it from one place or the other.
and you need to, the affordability index, this comes from Minnesota Rural Water, and basing it on either statewide or, their median household income. This is on census facts, okay? The total monthly for water and sewer is $149. That's what the affordability index is right now. I mean, right now, this current day, and we're at $59 up to, if you really go up, we're not anywhere near that affordability index at all.
So what is that saying, that people actually pay that much for water and sewer a month?
That's what they figure that people should be able to pay for water and sewer.
Yeah, but is anybody else at that rate? I mean,
No,
I
we're not saying
understand
that.
their situation, but
If we were to apply for a PFA loan or grant, our sewer and water rates would have to be at that 1.8%, or we wouldn't qualify for the loans and the grants. That's where they're getting that from, because too many communities would apply for a grant, get the grant, but they weren't charging enough on the sewer and water rates. So USDA Rural Development came up with an affordability factor. You have to be at that affordability factor in order to even qualify. And the money we got for our water plant was a PFA loan. Some of the loans that we have at the wastewater plant, they're PFA loans, and what they are, they're a lower interest rate spread out over a longer period of time, so they're more affordable. So,
I've talked to people,
that's how,
some people are paying that much. I have a friend that lives in the sewer, and, he's paying like $150 a month for water.
just water and sewer,
Yeah,
no other utility on it.
it's water and sewer. I mean, I'm not, I don't know if that's affordable, but
Well, and when we started comparing these rates, the ones that were higher are farther out. They all have their own wastewater plants and water plants. You start getting to the inner cities that got a little bit of joint water and metro sewer. I found are half these rates. So it's the debt that the smaller cities are carrying on their plants. My only concern is here again, we're trying to collect this money in 2 or 3 places. We took the wages out of the general budget, so we're not using that anymore, but we do still levy for the debt. And now we just changed our rate for land, which is gonna take some of the debt off, which we won't see for a year, hopefully, not 2 years. But we gotta start somewhere, so, I hate to see the rates go up this much, but in order to afford the water and sewer and the debt, we have to.
But this is just the start of the prices going up, though. Because water prices and costs are gonna continue to go up.
Well,
so.
and this needs to be reevaluated yearly to see if we're on track, and it can be done. That's part of our responsibility as a council, is to reevaluate it and check it, and make sure we're on track. But, we need to get it in line so that we are funding that properly. We can't, we keep running the water at a deficit.
I get it, we can't operate at a loss either.
No,
So is this gonna be the rate for an irrigation meter as well? Or, cause we had different rates for that, I thought.
The different rates on that is for the,
you're not paying for
Right.
sewer.
Right.
Right.
I know.
the hydrant meter is the same, if that's what you looked at. I put that same amount for water and sewer, or water rates. That's what you're thinking of. And that is the meter that the contractor picks up, and when he takes water out of the hydrant.
Mhm.
And that fee can be changed. So that's just for the gallons, correct?
And then we get a, yeah.
Thought we had a different base rate or something for irrigation meters.
No, we don't,
No.
no.
It's, so the irrigation meters just don't pay the sewer, don't pay on the sewer portion of it, so.
Irrigation meters don't have a base rate either. They just pay on the gallons they use. We only collect one base rate on irrigation meters. Maybe that's what it was. We only collect $10. We don't collect 20 if they have 2 meters.
So on the irrigation meters, is that based, the more you use, the more you pay?
And it is in the water.
Yeah, it's in
And
the
on
water, so
household
it's,
water too.
household water's the same thing, you go up,
Yep.
So it's the aggregate of the two that brings you up, right?
Right. When you add them together, right. Yeah, yes, each get charged, right.
So irrigation could, if they use 10,000 gallons for irrigation, that rate would go up, but if they're only using 3,000 gallons in the house, then that rate still stays the same.
At the
So-
3,000,
Right.
at what it is, right.
right, it's it's 0 to 6,000 right here is $4.15 per thousand. Okay, so if you irrigate heavy and you're up in the 10,000 range, you're paying $4.80 for 10,000, for 1,000. So you're paying a premium price for water once you hit the higher levels. You go up to 15,000.
So it's not an aggregate of the two?
Nope. It's each, but as that irrigation goes up, yes, you are paying more for water, or I suppose the car wash pays a whole lot more too, because they're usually heavy user of water. So. Okay, so is there a motion to approve this, resolution for the sewer and water rates for 2016? I will make that a motion, just talking on it.
Nobody wants a name on this. Bingo. I guess I'll have to second that then.
Okay, motion made second to approve the sewer and water rate resolution. Any further discussion or questions?
Is this effective with the January bill or the February bill? Because January is really December's usage. So is it take effect on February 1st for January's usage?
For January's usage, I would assume.
Clarification.
Yeah, I guess I'd assume for 2016 usage. Any other discussion? If not,
Hate to do it, but, I mean, we have to. I mean, there's part of the infrastructure.
Yep.
Can't let go.
Meter that's not fixed. Would that be retroactive or?
We'll deal with it, I guess. Hopefully the meters that, we'll have to deal with that.
what's that?
Meters that aren't fixed, we're trying to get them all
Oh,
so that if we have
list,
somebody that has water usage, it'll be, they're divided out by the month. So it'll be based on whatever month the fees are.
Okay. My only other question is there a way that we can charge more or break this gallons down a little different for irrigation? Are we charging enough for irrigation water compared to other communities?
The only thing you can do is you can change your 0.6,000 to a 0.3,000, and a 3,000 to 6,000 break in there. That's all you can do. I mean, because I'm sure the way the software is set up, it wants to know total gallons.
So I guess I'd be curious, there again, it is water plants and deficit.
Well, but if you were to change it even on, let's say you change it from, you break off at 3,000 gallons, you're raising it, 65 cents per thousand, so for 3,000 gallons, you'd be gaining a net $1.80, $1.85, something like that. So the question is, are there enough irrigation meters to merit that change?
This isn't bad enough yet, but more. It's gonna be
I don't know,
I don't know.
I almost, you know, it seems to me that, you know, irrigation water's maybe not such a necessity. You know, I think I'd be okay with that, 'cause I mean, that's something, if you wanted to, you could conserve water and not do that. You know,
I'm not
so-
okay with 3,000. We're already taking a raise. I bet you the average family of four uses about 6,000.
Yep, right. Average person, average household is
You
70
might not even-
70 gallons per person per day.
Yeah, when I
We're
first moved
raising
here,
that again.
I think my water bill was about $45 a month, and now we're already up to $75, you know, and it's gonna go up significantly more. I get it, I do.
If you wanna go up, then go up past the 6,000. At least let families absorb this big raise.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the motion for?
The motion is to approve this schedule as is here.
Stands.
Right. That's the motion. I guess you could address the irrigation thing on a separate issue. You could, well, I'm not sure. Does that work to break those two out? You could. Okay, so we could address the irrigation at a future meeting.
Not just the irrigation though, it has to be everything.
No, I
right?
guess, no, can't be just irrigation. So
we do,
So you could, we could leave this as it is. We could at a future meeting discuss irrigation, making that a little more stringent, a little more premium price.
Yeah, we'd have to look into the amount of irrigation water we use and see if it's worth it. I don't know if you can do that, or, but
tough to,
Oh.
because we've had some pretty nice years, rain-wise, right after we started putting in those meters. We haven't had a real dry year since then.
One of the other things that will be in the new development agreement, but it's been in our subdivision ordinance, but we haven't really, is that we ask for we're gonna be asking for 4 inches of black dirt on lots, or 6 inches of black dirt, so people don't have to irrigate, because that's part of the problem, there's no black dirt for the grass. So, we're trying to be a little bit proactive too, so.
Okay, so then, if the motion is to approve this schedule as it is, and we can come back and revisit the irrigation thing probably sometime in the next couple of months before irrigation season starts. And come up with a different schedule for that. Well, at least we've got a base schedule, and we also have the 5-year plan going forward on how that would work then too, and then we'll just plug it in there. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, if not, then is there a motion or there was a motion and a second? Call the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Just a comment, it didn't come up tonight, but I talked to Len about this, or the past couple of times I've heard the phrase about 100 homes being built, or based on homes. I look back with Luann, we never ever based any projections on 100 homes. We based it on 70 homes, but not 100. So wherever the 100 homes came from, we have no idea. Luann and I are both as puzzled about that as anybody else is, but when I was on the first round, we put these things into place, we based our projection on 70 homes maximum growth, not 100. So just let the record straight on that. Okay, approval of job description for deputy clerk position.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the city council had already approved a job description for the deputy clerk position. However, when staff contacted the city of Hamburg to get their job advertisement, because I'd saved their job advertisement out of the paper knowing that I would want to use it, he also sent me the job description that was used for that, the advertisement that he used. So the city of Hamburg's job description appears to be more descriptive and better explains the position. It's a little bit broader. The minimum qualifications are more descriptive, and also there's a section on desirable qualifications, and then there's a mission statement for the position. So staff's requesting council review and discussion on this job description. If you agree that you want to switch it, then we'll use this job description for the advertisement when people apply. This will be what they will get. So staff would recommend that that's what you would do.
So the one we've got in front of us is the one that Hamburg.
You have both, yep, you have Hamburg, and then you have the city of mayors that we approved too. They were both in the packet.
Oh, they're both, okay.
They were both there. That's the one you approved on
That's what I
September
approved,
14th,
okay.
2015.
So the highlighted things are the ones that are,
Yeah, primarily from city office. I didn't really highlight everything on it. That one was something that is in ours, that they work from the city office.
oh, this is ours here?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. What were the key things that were changed? You can just...
I think that the key things that were changed is that it's more descriptive in the definition. There's a mission statement or a purpose for the position, and then the minimum qualifications were more, and there's a desirable qualifications in this one where there wasn't in ours.
Okay.
And if you go, Lois and I both looked at it. Lois went through it and compared them to, and it just seemed that it was a little more broader, but it was broad enough that it would cover what we need to have it cover.
Right, okay.
I like the additions of the qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked about doing that in the first place anyway to ours, so I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have a motion then approving this new job description?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
No second.
The motion made second to approve the job description for the deputy clerk position. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, then authorization to advertise for deputy clerk position.
So I've provided you with an advertisement that I wanted to use, that they used, that goes with this job description. And so all I need really from the city council is I need to know if you're going to do a salary range. It's 10 to 20 hours per week. Is that what you want to use? You budgeted $15 per hour for the position. Do you want to do 10 to, do you want a range in there in the advertisement? And then the dates for the advertisement. When do you want it to open and close? So I would just, they had 10 to 24 hours. I don't know if they want 10 to 24 hour per week position, and a starting pay range of $10 to $12 based on qualifications with no benefits. So we're going to leave it at that, and then the application deadline. We should have a deadline for applications. So if you want to tell me what you want to use.
Well, I'd like to put the range in there that we budgeted for.
So do you want to do 10 to 15?
I would. I think it eliminates people who want more than that, then
Okay.
And we do have the option, if we get someone that's very well qualified, could step right in and take over without a whole lot of
Good.
effort, bump it up a little bit higher to the start.
And then when do you want it to close?
Usually you get quite a few applications. Well, maybe not for part-time.
Well, this is holiday season too, with Christmas and New Year's. I mean, do you leave it open for 2 weeks with it,
Can't we always just reopen it?
You could if you wanted to. Monday's the 4th, so the 11th, the 18th would be a Monday, 25th is a Monday.
Of January?
Mm-hmm. So if I started advertising after Christmas, the first week in January, I don't think anybody's gonna look at it now, unless you want me to.
Wait until after the new year.
So we go January 4th is the first Monday.
So we meet on the 11th and 25th.
You do, right. We could close it
Go to the 23rd or whatever.
the Friday before.
Friday before is the 22nd.
Right, but then that's not gonna give me enough time to get, if we close it at 4 o'clock, then that gives me a half an hour to get them all to you if somebody comes in with them. On a Friday, unless we wait to do it in February. Otherwise, I'd prefer that we close it on a Wednesday or a Thursday at 4 p.m.
So 2.5 weeks it would be?
Yeah.
Well, I think if we close it on the 20th, that's 2.5 weeks. If we don't get enough applications,
Okay, and then
extend it.
we do it at 4 o'clock just because, so nobody can say, I was here at 4:30 and you weren't, and it might be 4:32 and I'm already gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so January 4th through the 20th at 4 p.m., 10 to 20 hours per week with a starting wage of $10 to $15 per hour.
And where are y'all putting it?
I still go to 10 to 24. That gives them the 3 days,
Okay?
so that to begin with, they might have to be 3 days, just so that I can help.
That's true.
I don't know if we budgeted for 24, but if we didn't, we'll have to make an adjustment. Well,
Well,
we're
but
hiring them the first month anyway.
We have it set for 10 to 20. We can always back it down
Plus the hourly wage.
as they become skilled, we can back down in hours they need, but at least it gives enough training time.
To begin with, it's hard to train.
The problem I have with this position is, I had Luann do some calculating with part-time wages, 2 people versus 1 person. She calculated Lois's wages and this position at the 15, comes up to $53,387. And if we structure the city services, the office completely, we can have 2 full-time people in the office with 5 days a week for $53,421. Basically the same amount of money, and you'd have 2 full-time people in there, and you'd still use, by restructuring, depending on how we restructure, you'd have another person in there.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess explain what you're trying to say.
Instead of having 2 part-time people in there, you'd have 2 full-time people in there, so they knew what was going on every day, the conversations that were going on, so instead of waiting until next week until Lois came back to work, or you'd have them there 40 hours a week.
I think that's
For the
kind
same
of
wage.
that's what we're hoping, is that this person, Lois, will be able to train this person in.
I think the goal is to get somebody in here that's gonna stick with us, so when Lois decides to retire, which we're not,
Trying to make her.
we're trying to make her retire at all, but when that time comes, then this person will take over as full-time. That's what our objective is. I am not in any way going to ask Lois to step down, because she knows way too much what goes on around here, so.
Well, and you can't just have Luann and somebody else full-time. That doesn't work, because that's the problem now. When I'm gone, she has to run around. We need 2 people that can be flexible. So
Right.
there's always 2 people in the office. That's kind of my thinking. If there'd be 2 part-time people, and they could be flexible, say, okay, you know what, I got a doctor's appointment, can you work Wednesday? You know, I think that would really serve the city much better than having the 2 full-time people win and, you know, somebody else, then somebody's always gone. You know, it's nice to have 2 people in here at one time.
Well, if they're both full-time, though, someone always will be here.
Right, but you
Unless
want
someone's
2
on
people.
vacation, and then you need somebody, and then that
Yeah.
person is sick and they can't come in, but you want,
Well, that happens, yeah.
Are there tasks that are gonna get dropped because one person only is working so many hours, and that's not gonna be...
Hopefully not, that's our,
we need to cross-train someone more.
People need to do everything.
So when we have Judy come in, and Judy, you know, she's just not here enough to be cross-trained enough. When we used to have Paulette here 3 days a week, and Lois was here 3 days a week, it worked perfect, because Paulette knew what Lois did, and those 2 communicated. Now it's Lois communicates to me, and I have to try to, or I communicate with Lois, and then whatever. So it would work better if there were another part-time person, just to ease it in.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying, Bruce, but I think I feel a little bit more comfortable with the easing in of the whole thing. You know, maybe that part-time person does become a full-time
Right,
then.
and that's not to say that doesn't happen.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, and this isn't, you know, we could offer the full-time position to Lois, if she didn't want it. You know, I did have it scenarioed out a little different, but, it's whatever you guys wish. I was just trying to get,
What does Lois's wage at full-time look like in a year? That's your 53,000.
no, yeah, that'd be the 53.
So then there's no part-time. Nothing in the budget for that.
Is there a cost savings by breaking it down into 2 part-time people?
No,
If any.
no.
That's it.
No,
Yep,
no
it
benefits,
is.
no.
So, how do we, so you have benefits?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I would advertise it on the league website and then in the newspaper. And I can put it on the electronic sign too, I can put it out on Facebook,
yeah. So do we have a motion to approve this
advertising.
advertisement? Okay, is there a motion to approve the advertisement, 10 to 24 hours per week, pay range $10 to $15 an hour, and, January 4th to January 20th, at 4 PM on January 20th, right? Okay. Is there a second? I will second it. I was involved in this, okay. Any further discussion or questions?
The council action says, 10 to 20 hours.
Right, but she's,
The
they're saying,
resolution says 10 to 24 hours.
Right.
Do they need to be the same?
they're saying they want it 10 to 24.
Yeah, the motion said, motion we
Okay.
made was 10 to 24.
Yeah.
So the resolution is right.
Yeah.
And, I'm assuming that when these come back, it's gonna be the whole personnel, the whole council now looking, and is that gonna be like a special meeting? We
Probably.
can't do it at a council meeting, right? We have to.
No, that'd be a
Well, the
special
city
meeting.
council can appoint a committee if they wanted to go through them too.
That was an issue before though, too. I feel like the whole council
Yes.
wanted to see them or didn't.
Yep.
I would
have one
think-
special meeting to do them, yep.
Yeah, I think now we need to have a special meeting, let's go through it as council.
Aye.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Nay.
motion carried. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I jump
Yep.
one thing up here? The approval
Yep.
of the purchase of the broom for the skid loader, can we deal with that right now? Kyle is here tonight and,
5 minutes, Kyle.
okay, go for it. Come on, talk fast.
I'm gonna unplug this thing already.
And then the rest will just be tabled till the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, council members, staff is proposing the purchase of a new 84-inch bobcat angle broom in the amount of $4,256. The city currently has a 72-inch sweep-through angle broom that has significant wear and tear over the past few years, resulting in repairs and poor performance overall. The manifold leaks hydraulic fluid, the coating is starting to chip and rust, the broom does not fit back and forth like it is supposed to. The bristle is also need to be replaced due to improper maintenance and storage. The city uses the broom to clear city parking lots, paths, downtown sidewalks after snow events. It is also used to clear miscellaneous material off roadways and parking lots during the summer months. Lono Equipment is offering us $1,256 for the old broom, making the overall cost of the new broom $3,000. With proper use and maintenance of the new broom, it should last a minimum of 15 years.
So I have authority to purchase up to $5,000, but he can get this on the price for the bid, or for, yet it's a 2015 rate. So he really would like to do it, and we just wanted to bring it here
Is it
since it
still
was
in
a
his
piece of
budget?
equipment. Yes,
It's in the budget for next
for
year.
2016.
Did you have this plan that you were gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
actually a cost savings because I think we budgeted $4,600 and he can get this one for $3,000.
Yep.
Cool beans.
So we just need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made second, any further discussion or questions? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, and since I am leaving, I think we are adjourned.
There you go.
Do you need a motion in there?
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.